J.K. Rowling has taken more than her fair share of abuse from the media and even from the stars of her Harry Potter multi-gazillion dollar franchise who have tried to throw her under the bus because she stands against trans issues. Now, this woman has stood pretty tall. She's got enough money to say screw you and actually do it and be too big to actually get canceled. So that's one thing right there. Now, Emma Watson is kind of trying to walk things back, but still trying to say things that, J.K. Rowling is wrong, etc., because, of course, the whole trans thing is not popular anymore. It's not doing her any good anymore. And J.K. Rowling finally clapped back pretty hard on X with a long rant, which is pretty fun to watch. So let's take a look at this as we get into the real fantasy news. Thank you guys for being here. My name's John Delarose. I am a fantasy writer myself, blacklisted from the industry because of everything that I do. And, of course, they don't like my YouTube takes here, but a lot of people really like my books anyway. I've done very, very well in spite of the mainstream media here. This is the first book in my YA fantasy series, The Adventures of Baron von Monocle. If you like Harry Potter, if you like everything that's in it, if you like some good, clean fantasy that they don't really make much anymore, check this out. It's in the description below. It's a 6-book series. It all starts here. You got airship adventures, swashbuckling fun. They fight monsters. They get embroiled in a very, very tough war. It's good stuff right here, and I can't wait for you to start reading. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. Thank you guys for showing up, and this is in the description below if you want to support our channel. All right. So, yes, J.K. Rowling blasts Emma Watson back, and this is how she talks about this as she goes on what Emma Watson says. Now, Watson appeared last week and gave this rambling interview saying, I don't really believe that by having had that experience, holding the love and support and views that I have, that I can't and don't treasure Joe, that's J.K. Rowling, and the person that I had personal experiences with. I will never believe that one negates the others and that my experiences of that person I don't get to keep and cherish. To come back to our earlier thing, I just don't think these things are either or. That's my deepest wish, and I hope people who don't agree with my opinion will love me, and I hope I can keep loving the people who I don't necessarily share the same opinion with. You can see she's walking back because she's said some pretty nasty things about J.K. Rowling in the past with this. She says, I think that it's a very, very important way for me to feel that I need to be able to move through life. I guess I circle back around to. I really do believe in having conversations, and that those are important, and I don't know. I guess where I've landed is that it's not so much what we say or we believe, or very how often we say it, or that's really important. Wow, what a word salad. Whew, tough to get through. Now, what is she saying? She said that, I don't agree with J.K. Rowling and her things, but I still love her. Yay. We can all just get along. Notice they've changed their tune in Hollywood about this. This is something that's not been done up until 2025. They see the writing on the wall. They know exactly what's been happening in the culture. They know that they're in trouble. They know that they've pushed way too far against normalcy and normal people, and that they're losing all of their clout and all of that because of it. That's all this is about. This is not somebody who actually cares about anything but her fame and fortune. Let's be honest with this, with a Hollywood actress. She's trying to get ahead of the curve right here, and J.K. Rowling's not going to have any of it, which we'll show in a second. She says that's really frustrating and not what you want to hear when you're really angry and upset with someone. But I don't know. I just see this world right now where we seem to be giving permission for this kind of like throwing out of people or throwing that people are disposable, and I think that's wrong. Yes, she's against cancel culture now, but we also know that her and the other stars would never return for a Harry Potter reunion as adults because they don't want to work with J.K. Rowling. So how's that work, guys? What's going on with that? Cancel culture is still very alive and well. Harry Potter's too much of a cash cow for them to totally throw it under the bus. That's all this is. If this was a smaller author, you guarantee this person would just be dragged through the mud, gone, and humiliated by all of the Hollywood establishment. They've tried to do it to J.K. Rowling. This is garbage that she's doing this right now and not apologizing, which she should be doing if she actually believes this. She says, I believe that no one is disposable. Everyone, as far as possible, whatever that conversation is, should be treated with dignity and respect. Oh, please clap. So J.K. Rowling made a kind of a cryptic post at first saying, I think it's extraordinary how many people think a crocodile will be grateful you fed it red meat for years and that you'll let it stroll away unharmed when you decide you want a break. Very interesting right there. Kind of a cryptic way of saying things, but then she followed up much later with this post, which, whoa, she really starts to go off. She says, I'm seeing quite a bit of comment about this, so I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. This idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss when I was 21 what opinions I should hold these days. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity humanity ideology. I love this. And this is the problem that we always face, is we always go as conservatives, and even though J.K. Rowling's really not a conservative, go, everybody has the right to their free speech. And this is where we end up losing a lot of the time, because we say that, and they're just like, kill them! Charlie Kirk's a monster! Right? And so when you have people that hyperventilating who will actually kill you over your beliefs, and you go, you have your right to do that, you end up having a losing battle over time, and we do need to fight back a lot harder than we end up doing. And J.K. Rowling does do that a little bit more in this post after she couches it like this. She says, such beliefs are legally protected, and I wouldn't want to see any of them threatened with loss of work, violence, or death because of them. Geez. Well, that's nice and all that. Please clap, J.K. Rowling, because guess what? You get all that threatened of loss of work and violence and death because of your opinion, and it's all by them. So you know what? Maybe they need to actually fear their opinions, because these are horrific opinions that have started to destroy our society, let's be honest. But I do not advocate violence, of course. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear that over the last few years, they think our former professional association gives them a particular right and an obligation to critique me and my views in public. And this is what they do. They go and lambast over and over and over again. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. Until quite recently, I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a scary film studio. Over the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically, who notably on the witch trials of J.K. Rowling. Ironically, I told the producers that I didn't want her to be hounded as a result of anything I said. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, it was a turning point for me. But I had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained a single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through. She has my phone number." This was back when the death, the rape, the torture threats against me were at their peak, and at a time when my personal security measures had to be tightened considerably, and I was constantly worried for my family's safety. Emma had just publicly poured more petrol on the flames, and thought one line of expression of concern from her would reassure her of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. It's sickening how these Hollywood people are so fake, isn't it? Like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma had little to no experience of real life. She's ignorant of how ignorant she is. Boom. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She was never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'll be astounded if she's in a high-street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is a single occupancy, and it comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. She's had to strip off in newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool. Is she ever likely to need to run a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service? To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male rapist who's identified in a women's prison. I wasn't the multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand my own life experience of what trashing of women's rights is to Emma, so enthusiastically participated it means to women and girls without her privileges. Greatest irony of all is that Emma has not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack that I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed the full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was. I might have never been this honest. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love, as though the friend in fact was their mother. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it. And she's right. Emma Watson is absolutely ignorant. These people are all ignorant. They are just out there going for clout, and that's the whole problem with the Hollywood industry in general, is that it is one giant clout structure. If they believe that the social trends are going to go one way, they'll definitely go that way very, very hard. Now, none of these people have changed. They're all extreme leftists in there. They've blacklisted all conservatives. They've blacklisted anybody who's Christian from mainstream Hollywood and the like. And as much as like these social pressures are changing a little bit to where they're softening their tunes, deep down, these people absolutely hate us, and they do. I mean, I would believe Emma Watson probably really hates J.K. Rowling and wants to just stick it to her as much as she possibly can, but she's trying to put on that little fake Hollywood actress smile as she's reading somebody else's lines, as they always do in these publicity crisis sort of situations. This is where we're at these days. Now, the fight is not over, guys. I'm glad that she's softening. I'm glad that is a bellwether that things are changing quite a bit, but at the same time, we still have a lot of work to do in entertainment. The blacklist still exists. People are still out there, and of course, Hollywood only has one side that they represent. The publishing industry only has one side that it represents. And even though they're being quieter about it, that whole festering root is still there. And we need to change things by making independent changes in culture as well. All right, please hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think about this. Please hit the like. If I already said that. Please check out my For Steam and Country in the description below. Thanks for being here, guys. Good writer. I think you'll really enjoy this, and we'll be back soon.